What's going on, Jets fans? You are watching the Jets Report by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, Ian Rapoport chimes in on the latest Jets trade rumors before the NFL trade deadline. Names like Breece Hall, Quinnen Williams are both being floated out there in the latest trade rumors. So we'll discuss that on today's show. But let's just see what Ian Rapoport had to say here first. Saying we'll start with the New York Jets. They have a couple of big names on their team that teams have been calling about. It remains unclear as of right now whether or not anyone is going to be able to pry Breece Hall from the New York Jets, but no doubt he is the subject of trade calls. One of the better backs in the NFL certainly broke out on Sunday in the Jets' first win. He has been a guy that teams have been calling about. Now, he's going to be a free agent next year. I know he could potentially figure into the Jets' plans. Other teams would also want to figure into their plans, so it would take a significant offer for someone to pry Breece Hall from the Jets, but stay tuned with a week to go. And listen, it clearly sounds like the Jets are going to play hardball with this little Breece Hall trade here that has been floated out over the last couple of weeks, as they should. Like, this is the right move for the Jets, because clearly you have one of the better running backs in the National Football League. And even though you are 1-7, you are not just going to let one of your young and better players just walk out the door for nothing. Now, Breece Hall, before last Sunday, he was struggling in the past two games. Before that, that's what I was originally saying. Like, man, maybe the Jets could just give him up for a fifth-round pick. But then we saw that burst. We saw him put the team on his back in Cincinnati against the Bengals. And there will be contending teams that are definitely going to be trying to get number 20 to their respective organizations. So we'll talk about who those teams could be. Also, Quinnen Williams on the back half of today's show. But if you guys could hit that subscribe button today, we are closing in here on 11,000 subs here on YouTube. We just need 108 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button today. So if you guys haven't, I want to stay up to date around your New York Jets, hit that subscribe button today. Daily videos around your favorite football team. All right, so Aaron Glenn had an interesting quote the other day, just talking about the latest trade rumors. Rich Cimini asked him a question about it, and then Aaron Glenn said this: "When someone calls, you listen, but actions speak louder than words." Now, Aaron Glenn in the past, he has shut down every single, nonsense trade rumor that was floated out there. Anytime he got a question, he always had the, age-old quote of like, "I'm in the business of keeping good players on my football team." But now he's kind of, I wouldn't say walking it back, but he's definitely just changed his tone a little bit during the press conferences when he is talking about trading a couple of these guys. Now, I think the one team that could and will be calling about Breece Hall is 100% going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, I think they're going to end up winning the Super Bowl yet again this season. They're the odds-on favorite according to the bookmakers out west. Patrick Mahomes looks as good as he did in that 2022 season. Him and Kelsey have that great connection. Rashee Rice looks amazing, and the defense with Spags is humming, so far this season. So I could see the Chiefs trying to get ultra aggressive. And also, a Chiefs insider was writing up an article talking about them trading for Breece Hall. This is what he said: "If the Chiefs can plant Hall in the running back one spot with Pacheco serving as a bulldozing change of pace option, that could immediately blossom into one of those top backfields in the AFC. Kansas City's defense is always Super Bowl ready. If the Chiefs give Patrick Mahomes more support in the middle of an MVP caliber campaign, it feels like Kansas City might run away with the conference again." And I think if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I'll get ultra aggressive here. Like, I could see them offering him a third-round pick and more. I remember FanDuel put out a trade idea a couple of weeks ago when Breece Hall's trade value was a little lower than it is right now, and they said a third and a fifth-round pick. So I could see that potentially be on the table. And listen, if I were the Chiefs, I'm doing whatever I can to get Breece Hall in Kansas City, because even if you have to completely overpay, give up a second-round pick potentially, like, you're looking at that Chiefs offense. You had Breece Hall, Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, all the weapons they have, and then obviously you got the best head coach and best player in the National Football League. Like, that offense would reach another level. And Breece Hall, he's been fantastic as an NFL running back. Now, still doesn't clip 1,000 yards so far in his NFL career in a single season, but he has just been solid. And this year, honestly, I think he's looked his best than he has compared to previous seasons. And Breece Hall is also one of those guys where, he wants to win. And clearly he has made it clear he wants to be with the New York Jets. But, I mean, honestly, I think if you ask Breece Hall behind closed doors, like, hey, if you got traded to the Chiefs, would you be too upset about it? I promise you he would probably say no, absolutely not. Because he wants to go win football games. But, again, it comes down to the price. Because I think teams are going to probably try to lowball the Jets and say, hey, you're a 1-7 football team. You're not going to pay him this offseason. Might as well get some sort of draft capital right now for you don't have to play that comp pick game in free agency. But then again, like, if you're the Jets, like, if you don't get an offer you love, He's still clearly a very good running back. Why not just bring him back on a 2-year, $25 million deal and still run with that Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, three-headed monster in the backfield? So I'll ask you guys this. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm kind of 50-50 on this. Will the Jets trade Breece Hall? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm, again, 50-50, so I'm probably not going to be typing T or P here. But if you guys feel strongly about it, let me know your thoughts down below. Will the Jets trade Breece Hall? Now, we got another Quinnen Williams update coming in from Ian Rapoport as well. I'm going to dive into that here in a second. But I got to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that being Prize Picks. Now, the hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, and you can pick up to the same player 3 times in the same lineup. If you guys want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, well, now you can't pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. You guys can also follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed tab on Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today. Plug in promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Massive shout out, though, to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, so this is coming in from Ian Rapoport as well, talking about Quinnen Williams, because apparently a lot of teams are calling about number 95, but he put this out there saying it would take a huge offer for the Jets to consider trading Quinnen Williams. My first reaction to this is, as it should. Quinnen Williams, still one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He is a building block within this organization. So obviously the Jets, if you're going to play hardball with Breece Hall, you should 100% play hardball with Quinnen Williams, because we were talking about in the past. Who are the Aaron Glenn guys? Who are the guys that Aaron Glenn is going to want to keep on this football team for a very, very long time? Quinnen Williams is just that. One of the better defensive tackles in the league. He's a game wrecker. He is fantastic against the run, and it should take at least a first-round pick. Like, that should be where the offers start with Quinnen Williams, is a first-round pick and a whole lot more. Maybe if, the Jets want to cave in, maybe you get a first, a third, and a fourth, but I'm not just giving them up for, let's just say just a second-round pick, because even though Quinnen Williams, hasn't really popped as much as he did in the years past, he's still been fantastic against the run. He is right now PFF's number 1 graded run defensive tackle with a 90.8 overall grade and 365 snaps this season. Now, obviously, he's not getting home to the quarterback as much as I would have hoped, but still very solid, top to bottom. I mean, Quinnen is truly one of those guys that, he's a blue chipper. Like, these guys don't just come around too often. And even if you were to get a first, third, fourth round pick, you are hoping that one of those guys turns into a guy like Quinnen Williams, and he's a guy you should build around. He is a great locker room guy. I think he's a great leader. He brings some sort of a swagger and a confidence to this defense, even though the defense has been, pretty bad top to bottom, this season, besides a couple of games against the Panthers and the Broncos. But they should definitely build around Quinnen Williams. And, could you imagine what this defensive tackle room would look like without Quinnen? I do think this offseason, the Jets are probably going to attack defense very, very hard. Probably going to go try to get more cornerback help. Probably going to try to go get another linebacker. Definitely got to address the safety room at some point, unless you view Malachi Moore as like a long-term starter next to Andre Cisco. But, I mean, if you got rid of Quinnen Williams, you're going to at least have to spend a premium draft pick, and probably are going to have to also spend money in free agency to bring another guy in there. Now, so I don't think Quinnen Williams is going to get dealt by any means. I still am 50-50 about Breece Hall, but the one guy on the Jets roster that I think could get traded is Will McDonald. And, Will McDonald, he plays about 40-45% of the snaps every single week, and he doesn't really fall into that bucket as a Aaron Glenn guy just because he's just a true pass rush specialist. And, those guys, they bounce around the league for a reason. We've seen guys like Jadeveon Clowney, true pass rush guy, Matthew Judon, tail half of his career, or if you're just kind of a one-trick pony, these coaches just don't really love that out of their defensive end. So you could probably get a fifth-round pick out of Will McDonald. Maybe you get a fourth if a team like the Niners get super desperate, but probably not going to get a whole lot in return. But I think that's going to be the number one guy. If anybody gets traded, my money's on Will McDonald. But you guys let me know. Name a player that will get traded off the Jets roster. Drop that trade candidate down below in the comments section. And also help us reach 11,000 subscribers here on the channel. Appreciate all of you guys for taking time out of your day and watching the Jets Report today. See you guys next time. As always, go Jets.